The latest season of Love Island the game has been announced and I have some thoughts. Yesterday on the 24th of May 2024, Fusebox announced that the brand new season of Love Island the game coming out on June 5th is All-Stars. Yep, it's gonna be an All-Stars season. I'll be the first person to admit that I've wanted this for a long time. But as I've played more and more seasons of Love Island, my mind has been changing slightly, and I'll talk about why. My number one concern, before we get into anything else, is breaking the canon. If you don't know what I mean, I'll explain. So breaking the canon in terms of Love Island is where in season 2, you ended up with your dream partner and they're about to come into the All-Star season. Clearly you have broken up, or you're on a break, but you've broken up, right? For some of us, finding a soulmate in Bobby or harboring a soft spot for Bruno kept us going. So what if that gets taken away? For those of us who finished previous seasons and found solace in the fact that these wonderful characters are going to be living together happily ever after, that might get taken away. Look, we know already that Fusebox aren't strangers to this. Slight spoilers for those of you who haven't played the latest season of Tempting Fate. But in Tempting Fate, at the finale, Finn is back and he makes an allusion to the fact that he didn't work out with the person that he ended the season he was in with, which I believe was X in the Villa. Finn comes back to host the finale and tells us that the relationship that he was in X in the Villa wasn't anymore, which is fine, right? It's fine if you weren't the person who was in a relationship. So that would have been brilliant if that meant that we could then get with Finn in that finale, like I was hoping for. I don't know if you watched my live streams, but I was definitely hoping that we'd end up with Finn. But that option was closed off to us in the finale. Instead, that meant that there was no possible reason or no tangible reason for Finn to tell us this. We'll come back to that. Don't get me wrong, an all-star season would be fantastic. And there are some really good aspects to this, despite the fact, you know, you might lose the love of your life to this season. I'm going to go over some of them now, but just keep in mind that everyone has their own opinion. Let's keep the comment section debating this topic, but let's not be mean or harsh to anyone. I really think that this is something that is quite important for us to talk about. Bringing back love interest can bring back those nostalgic feelings. For example, if Bobby comes back, we know we're in for a fantastic ride, assuming he's written the same way that he was in season 2. Like, we'd love to see the characters, especially from seasons 1 to 3, return, so that we have another chance of seeing them and we have that ability to share those feelings that we once did all over again. We can also have another chance of romancing them, especially in a brand new situation. Not necessarily a brand new villa, but this is a brand new situation with brand new people. Like, you can do over Gary. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a really, really cool thing. I think what we also need to keep in mind is the fact that if we are re-romancing someone, do we have to keep this like as a new universe, an alternate universe kind of aspect? Because I definitely don't want to have ended up with Gary in season 2 and then for a new MC to be flirting with Gary. Unless, will it be our MC coming back? Who knows? I think you can also make that decision, but then I don't think the history would be written in. Like, Gary wouldn't look at you and recognize you and be like, hey, that's MC from season 2. So I'm gonna just, where we hit off, you know, where we left off, we're back. Which also makes me think with established characters such as Marisol, Oliver, Ty, everyone who was in the villas, we don't have to waste time showing who they are. Like, we already know, right? So the established players already know who these characters are, and it can just be a quick introduction for the newer players. We can get straight into the deeper conversations and hopefully create more of a compelling narrative that way. However, that being said, we have to watch out for the trap, which will be Fusebox not introducing the characters at all. I don't think it's fair that new characters would potentially be thrust into this new world of Love Island and not know who Bobby is and just get sort of baseline Bobby. I don't have like a particular bias for Bobby at all, but I definitely think that, you know, Bobby's going to come up quite a bit in this video. New players who haven't played the previous seasons might feel left out or less connected to the characters, potentially alienating a huge proportion of the audience, especially since seasons 1 to 3 has been taken down off the App Store and it doesn't look like it's going to be coming back anytime soon. New players might not understand the history or nuances of returning characters. So for me, I haven't played Stick or Twist, and if any of the characters from Stick or Twist come back into the All-Star season, I'd be completely lost. What if there are previous characters who have had drama with each other coming back and having that drama again? That would be fantastic. I've just realized off the top of my head, I cannot remember who had beef with other characters in the Love Island villa, so use your imagination. But imagine if character A comes back in and has beef with character B from the same season again. Now, there is a chance that this could get quite repetitive, and it could also ruin the surprise and novelty of finding out about that character and learning how they behave. But for the people who have been there, do we treat it like an Easter egg, like it's just like this nice little thing that could happen? But there is some built-in drama ready to go if that is the case. And on that note, seeing some characters back together again. For instance, imagine Hope and Noah back in the villa. They're not together. They obviously couldn't have ended up together if they're both back in Love Island, but Hope and Noah and their dynamic, and maybe the MC romancing Noah, could be interesting, because then you've just got Hope watching on like, is she jealous? Is she not jealous? Like, has she made up her mind? Who knows? But then again, we also could have ended up with Noah at the Love Island after party in season 2. So does that mean that that is ruined? That's no longer canon? I'm already invested in thinking what this could look like, especially with a situation where two people who ended the show together could come back in the villa single. How are we going to feel about that? And for Fusebox specifically, an all-star season can generate such a significant buzz and anticipation. It's a great marketing opportunity to attract both the old players back to the game and new players, which leverages the popularity of past characters and boosts interests and downloads. So I definitely think from Fusebox's point of view, an all-star season is a fantastic thing. And I know a lot of you are going to hate Play of the Season. And I hate to say that, but I know you, and I know you will. I don't think I'll be hate playing it, but I think I'll definitely be on red alert watching out for these things that could definitely be a problem. And as I touched on earlier as well, meeting the high expectations of our favorite characters is incredibly challenging. The number one character I think that has those nuances that make him just perfectly him is Bobby. If the storyline and the character's development doesn't align with our expectations, and the Bobby that we knew will immediately be against the season, which isn't fair to Fusebox. But then again, would making Bobby single again be fair to us? Would it be fair to us? I can also imagine how difficult it is for the writers to bring back old characters, especially if they're new writers and weren't there during the initial seasons. I cannot imagine the pressure on them to fulfill these big expectations to have an all-star season, because you are going to be on the back foot as a player. You are going to be waiting for something to either go wrong or to be just right, and that's a massive pressure. Now, if you're thinking what I'm thinking and analysing some of the information that we've got from the Love Island game source, I think there's a possibility that Finn could be coming back in the All-Star season because of that sort of like fact that he told us he was single. There didn't seem to be a reason. There wasn't really any tangible evidence. But I think we've got him coming back to make his mark in All-Stars. So many people, including myself, expressed disappointment in Finn being closed off the cat so early on. So maybe that means that there's a chance. And maybe that means that the characters that did have that kind of vibe, that were closed off early on, think of Seb, think of, I want to say Nikki. I feel like Nikki was maybe closed off as well. But think of all those characters that you didn't have a chance to romance. Can we now romance them? To me, what would make this season interesting was if you could make or import some of your MCs from previous seasons. Like, imagine if, right? So it wouldn't be completely correct based on the way that we've played them. But imagine a sort of like too hot to handle style grading system where you had like the devilish or the villainous section, angelic or stick to the rules, or more like loving, friendly, caring. And you could pick one of those personality types for your character to sort of go down based on the decisions that they make and the things that they say. I think that would make the season run in a very interesting way. And playing opposite one of our MCs from a previous season would just be amazing. For instance, imagine if you could pre-program Scarlet, our MC from Tempting Fate, to be in this season and be like villainous, be our nemesis. If that was just a skin that we could just put that character into, I think that would be a really, really interesting way to play. I don't know how realistic it is because I've never made a video game before, but I think that could be really fun if it is a possibility. However, that being said, as an initial creator of the MC, you'd need to be okay with them being changed and being adapted, and with you not controlling them, that would make them a bit more different from what you may have been expecting. I don't think that's something that is going to happen in this series, and this season in particular, but I think that could be a lot of fun. And another thing, Fusebox released this as part of the announcement, as well as saying that there'll be some new faces too. And actually, there kind of has to be, right? Because you're the MC, not necessarily going to have been in the Love Island universe before. So why would you, as the MC, be the only face of the villa? So thinking about this, and thinking about how that would just be incredibly like main character energy of you. Maybe we're an unseen character. Maybe we're one of the girls that didn't make it back from Casa Amor. Or, hopefully, this time we have the ability to play as a more masculine figure. Maybe we're just someone who hasn't made it back from Casa Amor. Which also means that this, what they're saying about new faces being in the villa, makes sense as well. Maybe they're also people from Casa Amor who didn't make it back. Hence the sprite from the last season that we saw of, what was her name? I can't remember the character's name, but with like the long dark hair and maybe some blue streaks. I can't remember. But we found it weird during the live streams that they'd created this whole character and hadn't actually put her out into the universe. So maybe this is a way to incorporate her in. Maybe they'd already made her sprite because they'd already created the All-Star season at this point, or at least the initial artwork. That would make all of these characters new to us, but not new in universe. I asked you over on Instagram your thoughts about the new season, and this is what you said. H.M. McNeil said that they're going to change some of our characters for the worst. I do 100% think that this is a possibility, and I'm gonna pretend to myself that it's not. Marta, one of our amazing channel members, said it would be amazing to mix some of the new characters from different seasons. I mean, Talia, and getting to play with those romanceable characters again would just be fantastic. Dania says, so excited. Me too. I'm kind of convincing myself that this is going to be a brilliant season. Pling Jen says, give me Seb from season 3, please. Yes, please. Can we have Seb? I think he's really lovely. I think we kind of got Seb in Kyle in Tempting Fate, but it isn't Seb. It was Kyle. But I think they're like one and the same, you know? AMRXDX, I think this is Amir, said, I have a feeling MC will be one of the unseen Casa girls from season 2 or season 6 maybe. That is a really good point. So we've just covered that, but I definitely can see that happening. And Mike says, another fantastic channel member over here, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because we know it will be full of drama. And I definitely think it's going to be full of drama. There's no way it can't be, right? Overall, while an all-star season of Love Island the game could bring excitement, nostalgia, some deeper character development, it also risks that predictability, exclusivity, and potential disappointment, and balancing these factors would be crucial to the success of the season. I think they can definitely do it, and I think they can pull it off, but I think they are 100% going to be treading on some toes as well. There's no way we're all getting out of this unscathed. So what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you looking forward to the season coming out on the 5th of June, or are you dreading it? I've definitely got mixed feelings, but we will have to see what happens. Let me know if you'd want me to play it on the channel, or if you'd rather some season recaps. I'd love it if you subscribed if you haven't already, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And remember to turn on your notifications so you know every single time I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to our amazing members who are just over here. Thank you for being absolutely fantastic and keeping the channel alive and me making videos. I wanted to make this video so we can kind of document the process of All Stars and see just how like right or wrong we are towards the end of it. So fingers crossed, if you're watching this and the season's already come out, was I right? Were my predictions okay? Do let me know. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!